Hello everyone, my name is Zach with Flohr Pools, and in today's video we're going to be giving you a step-by-step guide on the FreshWater IQ system. The two components of the FreshWater IQ system are the salt system, so we're going to be doing the freshwater salt system. That's going to be part one. Part two of this video is going to be the FreshWater IQ monitor, and we'll be given a step-by-step guide on how to get both of these components started appropriately to give you an easy water care experience. So before we begin, it's really important to us at Flohr Pools that you bring us a water sample of the water that you're going to be filling the hot tub with. We want to test the water and get a computerized test result at one of our Flohr Pools locations. This will tell us how the water chemistry is currently and whether we need to come up with a game plan to make sure that the freshwater system as a whole is going to work appropriately for you. Before filling your hot tub, we highly recommend you get one of these, which is called a clean screen pre-filter. This is going to make sure that you start off with the most optimal water possible. So no matter what kind of water you have, we really recommend getting one of these. You'll see conveniently 1 through 10, you can mark off every time you use it, but it will work up to 10 fill-ups. So before putting it into the filter compartment of the hot tub, you want to slowly let this water out until it runs clear. You're going to see initially it has sort of like the black look, but ultimately this is going to remove organic material, metals, etc. from the water to make sure that we have the best water possible. As a reminder, we always want to fill the hot tub through whatever filter compartment that you have is where you want to fill the hot tub. This will allow all the air from all the plumbing to go out instead of getting an airlock. That way we can prime the hot tub much easier. So once the water is about an inch above the very top jet of your unit, you can call that a filled hot tub, turn this off, and move on. So once your hot tub is filled with water, it is now time to power on. Once you have power on to the hot tub, you want to let the temperature get to at least 95 degrees before adding salt to the filter compartment. This will help the salt dissolve and also allow the system to read more correctly the amount of salt that's in the water. So once the water temperature is at least 95 degrees, you're okay to go ahead and add the salt. How much salt we're going to add to the hot tub depends on your unit and how many gallons it is. Once we know how many gallons the hot tub takes, there's a chart on the back of this bag of salt that we sell, and it's going to tell you how much salt to add. Now, I like to err 1 cup shy, so for this one, if it says to add 8 cups, I'm going to start with 7. That way we don't go too far with it. To add the salt, it has 1 cup already in the bag, so this will be 1 cup. If we're filling this, you would want the hot tub to be running so that it actually sucks through the filter and dissolves a little bit quicker. This is where you could just turn on the jets as you're adding the salt, and I would let it run for at least 30 minutes to make sure everything is fully dissolved. So the next step is going to be testing the water and then ultimately balancing the water to the appropriate parameters as you'll see on the screen. To test the water, we're going to be using the FreshWater 5-way test strips. You're going to see this has chlorine, alkalinity, pH, and total hardness. This is going to tell us if we need to make adjustments before inserting the salt cartridge and ultimately activating the salt system. One other thing I would like to note is if the total hardness is on the high side, we really need to address that because that is displaying how much calcium is in the water. We're going to have a separate video that shows you how to remove calcium from your hot tub's water. So what we're going to do next is sanitize the water. What do we mean by that? Simply, we're going to be adding chlorine. Specifically, we have these Flohr Pools chlorinating granules. We're going to be doing 1 tablespoon into the filter compartment. As a reminder, any kind of chemicals that we're adding, we want to add that into your hot tub's filter compartment with the jets running. For this step, the chlorine, we want the jets to be running for at least 5 minutes after adding it. So we can either just turn the jets on, or we could do a clean cycle. A clean cycle is going to run for 10 minutes. If you just turn the jets on, that is okay too. We just need this to run for at least 5 minutes. So again, 1 tablespoon into the filter compartment. And after 5 minutes, we'll retest and see what our chlorine level is to make sure that the water is sanitized. So the next thing that we're going to be doing is actually inserting the salt cartridge. As a reminder, we just added 1 tablespoon of chlorine. We want to make sure we do that for at least 48 hours. So in other words, we're going to do another tablespoon of chlorine tomorrow, and then another tablespoon of chlorine the day after that. So now that I've added the 1 tablespoon of chlorine, we're going to repeat that tomorrow and the next day. On the 3rd day, we want to retest to make sure that we're holding a chlorine residual. If we're not, we're going to continue doing the tablespoon of chlorine each day until we're holding a steady level. So we're now at the point where we can actually insert the salt cartridge into your hot tub. Before doing so, check the owner's manual on how to replace the actual salt cartridge. This is going to guide you to use your spa's control panel to be able to turn off the pumps so that when we pull the cartridge out, there's not water actually running. Once we insert the actual cartridge into it, we'll then tell it to restart the system. This is going to vary depending on your hot tub, so it's very important that you check the owner's manual to see exactly how to do this. So once your control panel says to remove old cartridge, that's what we're going to do at this point. Your hot tub is going to vary depending on the location of this. But if you see these 2 things on the top side of your hot tub, we're going to be accessing the smaller one. This is where the salt cartridge is going to go. So we're going to twist this counterclockwise until it stops and pull straight up. At that point is where we are going to be pulling this one out and then putting the actual salt cartridge in. What I want you to know before we actually do this is as soon as I remove this, there is a little overflow that's going to happen, and all of that is routed out and away from the hot tub. So if you see water running out of the hot tub, it's a tube designed for that overflow water. So when we go to pull this out, the first step is going to be pushing the actual button itself on top of the cartridge. So the one that's down in here right now is more of a dummy plug. So we're going to push the button down and pull it straight up. You'll see they're very similar, except this is just the plug. This is the actual salt cell or cartridge. So to put this down in, an easy way to think about it is you're going to see the outside metal parts here, and then inside of here you're going to see the actual metals on the side here. We want to match this metal up with that metal. So that's going to go down in, and before I push it down, I do want to push the button first and then push it in place. Let go of the button, make sure it's secured by you're not able to pull it up, and that is the salt system or salt cartridge installed. So now that we've actually installed the salt cartridge, we're going to come back to the screen and confirm that we did so. The hot tub is then going to tell us that it's restarting the pumps and initializing the system. Now that we have the salt cartridge installed and you've told your system to restart, you're initially going to come to a menu like this. Now your hot tub may look differently, but for today's purposes, they're all generally the same sort of look and meaning. So the first thing we're going to do to activate the system is actually set the output level. That level goes from 0 to 10. Think of this as your engine or gas pedal. 0, not running at all. 10 would be pedal to the metal. Normal operating conditions are generally set, especially at the start, between 5 and 7. This does vary a little bit depending on the size of the hot tub, but ultimately I would recommend starting between a 5 and a 7 to start. The bar on the left side here is going to show red, yellow, green, yellow, and red. We want to be within the green parameter. This is trying to display what the actual salt level is in a sense. And again, always check with a salt test strip to verify yourself. But this will tell us, do we have enough salt in the water or do we have too much salt in the water? In this case, we're within the green, which means the system is going to work as we need it to, telling us there's enough salt in the water for it to do its job. So as a reminder, we want you to test the water for the next couple of days with the 5-way test strips. The other thing we want you to do is add 1 tablespoon of chlorine to the filter compartment for the next couple of days as well. So now that it's been a couple of days, it's time for us to install the IQ monitor. Just like the FreshWater cartridge before, you remember we installed it into the one part of the hot tub that had a cap on it. Depending on your model, but across the board, we are going to have another cap beside it or very close to the FreshWater salt cartridge. And this is where the IQ monitor is going to go. So to install the IQ monitor, it's of the 2 caps. On your model, it may be in a different area or what have you. However, it's going to be the larger cap of the 2. This was your FreshWater salt cartridge. This is where the IQ monitor is going to go. So to access it, and again, this is going to be to install the IQ monitor for the very first time. At the very end of this video, we'll show you how to replace the cartridge of the monitor. But for this, this part is to install it for the very first time. Always start with the power off with the hot tub. So the power is now off on the hot tub, and we are going to now access the area so that we can install the IQ monitor. On this larger cap, we're going to twist this counterclockwise. So you're going to do that till it stops and pull straight up. Once that is removed, we're going to see there is something in here, and this is just sort of the dummy plug because nothing is actually installed in here yet. You're going to see that it is right now, the arrow is pointing towards the lock symbol. There is an unlock symbol. I will say it will sometimes go a little bit further than the unlock symbol, but you want to twist it counterclockwise until it stops. Once it stops, you can go ahead and pull this straight up out of the unit. Now, I will say sometimes this cable is a little short to be able to pull out. You will likely have a little bit of play that you can actually pull the wire just a little bit. Don't pull on it very hard, just a little bit to get more access if needed. But first try to get it out of there without having to do that. The next thing we're going to do, what we actually have to remove from here is this portion. This is the dummy plug. So what we're going to do is take the screw off. Now, it's very important that we don't do this right above this hole because we do not want that screw falling into this housing here. So I'm just going to keep it away from there, and we are just simply going to unscrew this portion of it. Once this is removed, you'll see I will then be able to, and make sure you keep that screw because we're going to need it again. But now that it's removed, you're going to see nothing's holding this on there, so we can pull that straight out. This was the initial dummy plug. We're now going to actually install the IQ monitor. Think of it as the brains. So packaging will look something like this, and inside of here is the IQ monitor. This is where we're going to line up, remember the screw and the screw hole, we're going to line that up here. So we're going to slide that in until you're able to see that, and then we're going to take that screw and reinstall it. That way it stays in place. And you don't want to do this, you don't want to over tighten this, but you certainly want this screw to be hand tight or snug. Once we have that screw in place, this is now ready to go. And also, before installing that, make sure to not get any water on that upper side in here. You don't want any water in there, okay? It's very important that we keep water from there. If it does happen, we do recommend just soaking that in rice for a couple of days. Worst case scenario. So we're going to remember the arrow here when we insert this back down in. Now, as I said before, sometimes it goes a little bit further than that unlock symbol. So you're going to do it. I always will start right at it. pull it left until you feel it drop, and you can push it straight down until it stops. Once you push it straight down and it stops, it's now time to turn it clockwise. And note the arrow. We want the arrow to end up on the lock symbol. Once we have that in place, we are ready to go. We do want to reinstall this cap first, so we're going to put this back on here. And once we have it in place, straight down, clockwise to lock it till it stops. You'll feel it stop and you are good to go. We're then going to power the hot tub back on, and it's going to start its initialization. So your hot tub may look a little bit different depending on which brand you went with and which model. The screens might look a little bit different, but the overall essence of it is going to be the same. So in this scenario right now, you're going to see we powered it back on and the IQ monitor says system initializing. This is completely normal, and we are going to wait until it actually gives us results. So right now, this is completely normal, system initializing. So after the system initialization is complete, we're actually going to start seeing results here. The arrows are indicating what the actual result is and where we want to be. So you'll see all of our parameters right now look pretty good, except the chlorine does show there's something wrong, being that it is in the yellow and we want it to be in the green. So when you tap on it, you're going to see it actually gives us this recommendation. In this case, the chlorine's a little bit high, so it's saying to decrease the output level by 1. Conveniently, there's going to be a button to go straight to that. So we're going to say adjust, and it's going to take us right to the salt system. And it told us it wants us to reduce the output level by 1. Being that it's currently at a 4, we're going to go ahead and make that a 3. Everybody's is going to be a little bit different, and depending on usage, this is going to change. And that is exactly what makes this system unique. So the last thing we're going to do today is replace the monitor, which is different than installing it like new. The IQ monitor that we just installed is for a brand new one. So what we're going to do now is actually replace the cartridge. This is what you're going to be doing after 12 months, which is when the IQ monitor needs replaced. Like before, we want to make sure the power to the hot tub is completely off first. So we already have the power to the hot tub off, and we're going to show you how to replace the IQ monitor's cartridge itself. So just like before, we need to access the IQ monitor's housing. And so we're going to twist this counterclockwise again, pull straight up, that way the cap is off of it. And we are going to do the same thing where right now the arrow of this is pointed towards the lock symbol. We're going to twist this left until we feel it stop. Once it stops, we're going to pull it straight up out. So now that we access it, you're going to see, unlike before, we're going to do nothing with the screw. The brains are already in it. That was part of the new component. That was the actual IQ monitor system as a whole. So every 12 months, the cartridge that needs replaced is this portion right here. To access this, you are going to, if you're looking at it like this, you're going to twist this counterclockwise. Once that is completely off, you are going to pull the old one off of there and then put the new one into it. Simply like this, twist it until it's hand tight. When it's tight, we're going to repeat, put this down in till we feel it go in its place, push down till we feel it stop, twist it right until the arrow is on the lock symbol. That is a replaced cartridge. And that's it. Your FreshWater Smart Monitoring System is now set up and ready to help you maintain crystal clear water in your spa during your water wellness journey. If you have any issues or questions, refer to your owner's manual or contact your local Flohr Pools for assistance. We really hope you found this video helpful and appreciate you tuning in. Thank you.